Welcome, children. This is a video I wanted to make for a long time. Actually, I've tried making it twice, and it's so hard cutting. It's so hard doing this and filming it. I don't know how Les Stroud does it, the Survivor Man. So let's call this chapter 1. Anyways, it's basically how we getting ready for an arm wrestling competition, and you got to weigh in. And if you're like me, you believe weight is strength. So you want to go into the competition as strong as possible. So every little bit counts. You go into the competition as big as possible. I cut 11.4 pounds in 9 hours. But that's a misnomer because that includes like 4 hours of napping. And I'll explain that later. But it's a realistic scenario. It took me 7 hours to gain 11 pounds, but 3.5 hours of that was sleeping. So you'll see as we step through it. I'll do another one of these videos at an actual competition. Well, I might never have to cut weight again. What I'd like to do is at the next competition, find somebody who has to cut weight and I'll film and narrate them. I ramble on too much about this. I'm so sorry. Wait a second. How do I? Okay. Having technical difficulties. All right. To start out, this table here is widely available. I found this table. This is what you do 5 days before weigh-in day. I found this 10 years ago, and it was attached to a very excellent article. When I searched, and I downloaded this to my phone several phones ago, and I've been carrying this chart around since I lived in South Carolina, Utah, Arizona, and now Ohio. I cannot find the original article or the original website I found it posted. This table has been ripped off and reused so many times. It's on this YouTube channel, which might be the original one. I don't know. I got it off the actual article, not a YouTube channel, but it's also on Pinterest. I don't know if these guys are related or not, but if you Google weigh-in, 24-hour weigh-in powerlifting, you'll find this table. It's attached, it's referenced, it's all over the place. Basically, I follow it. 5 days out, you drink 2 gallons of water, 4 days out, 2 gallons of water, 3 days out, a gallon of water. This weigh-in day, this 2 days out is before you weigh in. They recommend cutting you down to half. I don't. Once I get to a gallon, I just drink a gallon the whole day. I drink water up until the time I actually start cutting water, only because this day right here, the day before weigh-in day, you might be on a plane, you might be driving all across the country. The last thing you want to do is be partially dehydrated and grumpy and everything else. So pump the water up to 2 gallons, get down to a gallon, make sure you stay fully hydrated. Definitely cut the salt out according to the schedule. Cut the carbs out according to the schedule. So basically you're transitioning. Get to liquid meals. I'm on all liquid meals. I follow this. The only thing I don't follow on day 2 is this half gallon. I drink all the water I want constantly. I do not take the caffeine or the water pill until I actually get to the hotel, because the last thing you want to do is take this stuff, get on a plane, your plane's late, or get into a car, you have car trouble. A bulk of this video is about the sauna. It's about the sauna and it's about the meat day. So there's this little section right here, this weigh-in day, let's see, 150 grams every 2 or 3 hours. We violate that. Well, I don't know, 1 gram. We will, basically this video is going to count on this day, and I'll show you what I do. You'll see. and you just manipulate it yourself. Meat day, I don't follow that either. So, but different strokes. All right, so I tried making this video at an actual competition, the one in Texas. It proved way too hard to film and cut the weight and gain the weight back. So what I did is I took last weekend, I went to a hotel here in town and I pretended like had a competition coming up. So this is just where I started out. And I started out at a weight of 223.6, fully hydrated. These other measurements I just grabbed because when I've cut weight before, I've actually measured it and I saw the measurement shrink and balloon back up. Didn't happen so much this time, but I can just make a video about weight. The blood pressure and the pulse, I knew this was affected. We'll get into that later. When you get into dangerous levels of water cutting, your pulse rate goes way up, way up. I suspect your blood pressure drops way down, but I've never known. But I know I know on myself, I felt my pulse going crazy fast, like scary fast. So anyways, we start at 223.6 at hour zero. Hour zero in this case was about 8:30, 9 p.m. When I started I started this on a Friday. I got up at 3:30 in the morning, worked out, posted that workout video, worked from 7 to 5:30 that evening, then went shopping, had a few drinks, drank a bunch of water, got it, checked into a hotel. This hour zero was like somewhere between 8:30 and 9:30 at night. I can't remember. Typical of getting to a tournament. You got to weigh in the next day. You got to travel. So it's very realistic. All right. First part of the weight cut, the gimmies. This is so easy. It's you're going to lose 1 to 2% of your body weight. Normally what I do is you get into the hotel, put a towel underneath the door, turn the shower on full blast hot, fill that bathroom with steam. Then you just go in there and you sit in that hot, steamy bathroom. You can move around, you can get comfortable. So it's like a wet sauna. This particular hotel and a lot of hotels did not have the water temperature capable of doing that. I was actually in that bathroom for 30 or 40 minutes and nothing was happening. So I started over again. So this weight cut is all hot baths. It's sitting in a bathtub with the water full blast hot. So I put 1 or 2 inches of water in the bathtub, stand in it, get your feet used to it, lay in it. Once I have about 1 inch of water in that bathtub, I start sweating immediately. Of course, I'm fully hydrated. When the sweat slows down, I pump more hot water into it. Sweat slows down, I put more hot water into it. So by the end of the sauna time on that first seat says 15 minutes in, 15 minutes out. That doesn't work for me. I set my weight cutting time at 20 minutes, but to begin with, since you got a lot of extra water, first dose is 30 minutes long. But anyways, the sweat pours out long before the water is even halfway up my legs. And 30 minutes in the bath, lost a couple pounds, another 20 minutes in the bath, another couple pounds, another 20 minutes in the bath, another couple pounds. So that's 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 20. So like 5 pounds. 5 pounds in 2 hours, it's easy. Like I said, this is the gimmies. The water just sprays out of your body almost. I would recommend doing this rather than I see people sometimes throwing on a lot of sweatpants or plastic bags and running laps or running up and down stairs. I'd never recommend physical exertion when you're in a calorie depleted or trying to lose weight. You know, your body's already in a weakened state. Doing all that exercise, man, we're trying to avoid cramps. We're trying to avoid a lot of things. So it's a lot better if you can just sit down, sweat the water out. So the gimmies, if you've only got, like I said, 4 pounds, this is 4 pounds at 223, ratioed up yourself. Also, I am not very lean. I'm a chubby guy. Lean people that are full of muscle, you'll lose weight quicker. Muscle has a lot more water in it than fat does, and that struggles. So if you got to do some weight cuts for your class, it makes a lot of sense to get lean because muscles mostly water, fat not so much. But as you can see, pulse rate's coming up, blood pressure's dropping. The measurements, you got to give me some leeway here. My measurements are not real repeatable because you don't know whether you're putting them on the same spot or not and how tight you pull it, but the waist definitely went down an inch. The forearm, probably didn't move so much. The bicep shrunk a little. The bicep probably shrunk quarter inch or so. Blood pressure moved. The gimmies, this is just minor stuff. This is, oh, you overshot it, something like that, or the competition scale didn't meet, doesn't match your home scale. The gimmies are easy. So this is where we are, mild dehydration, right? You got increased thirst, mild headache. Actually, I pick up this mild headache from the 5 days leading into the weight cut. When you reduce the sodium and throw a bunch of water into your body's acting like it's dehydrated anyways. I get the mild headache, I get the thirst, fatigue, skin flushing, dizzy. Yeah, that's just normal day-to-day attributes for me. This is the second stage, and these are the pains. This is when you start getting grumpy, you have a headache, the weight starts getting harder and harder to go. So I'm now getting into the bath 20 minutes at a time. We dropped a pound, then another couple pounds, then a pound. And as you see right here, a 20-minute session dropped almost no weight. This is what I call the stall. And this is so disheartening because right now you're actually feeling it. You're actually, this is painful and you're 8 hours into it. Now, well, you're 8 hours into it minus 4. I'm basically 4 hours into the weight cut. I took this 4-hour nap at about 10 o'clock at night because, like I said, I was up at 3:30 and I'm cutting weight, and this cutting weight is exhausting. It's, those of you who know it, you're not hearing anything you don't already know. Those of you that are just starting out, cutting weight is exhausting, and there's not much you can do about it to get your energy back because your stomach's empty, you're dehydrated, and your body's just, you're stressing your body out because your pulse rate's going way up. So your body's working hard and you're not getting any rest. So yeah, I cut to 217, laid down for 4 hours, lost 2 pounds. You can read a lot of articles and it'll say people lose a couple of pounds at night just because they expel a lot of moisture when they're breathing. I can never count on that. I always have to cut down to my weigh-in target plus a little bonus, and then I'll go to sleep. I never assume I'm going to lose weight throughout the night, because if you wake up and you don't make weight, the thought of getting in that hot bath is killer. Anyways, 5-6% of your body weight, it's about 10 pounds. It's not killer stuff. It's still an advantage. I mean, if you go into a 165-pound weight class and you're 8 pounds heavier than everybody else, so you're in the mid to low 170s, I mean, it's an advantage. It's being 205, 208 pounds in 195 class is better. It's not the crazy stuff people talk about, but this is the point. After this, we're talking serious, dangerous medical stuff, so I wouldn't recommend it. I'm not saying we don't all do it, but the next phase is, All right, decrease sweating and urination. That's the stall. You spend this, you're losing 1 or 2 pounds every time you get out after 20 minutes. All of a sudden, you get out, you didn't lose any weight. When you chase this further, it happens every time I've cut weight. I've come out after doing 20 or 30 minutes in the bath, 20 minutes in the bath, just painful. Get on the scale and I've gained weight. Somewhere between getting in, getting out, not drying off quicker, my body's absorbed some of that water back in through the skin. It's so disheartening. Do not do this alone. Make sure you have somebody with you watching out for you. Increased heart rate, respiration, we'll see that. The pulse will keep climbing up. The headache, actually, the headache is very bad, but you're used to it because it's just been that constant droning thump, 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 thump. You're actually getting on with it now, so the headache's the least part of it. The exhaustion, what they don't list here, extreme fatigue. This is killer for me. It's so exhausting. All right. Now we get into the extreme weight cut stuff. Do not do this, okay? I am telling you not to do this. Don't do this, get hurt, or anything else. If you do this, please, please, please do not do it alone. And do not do it with somebody who, while you are in the room cutting dangerous amounts of weight, is going to be hanging out in the bar and drinking and getting selfies and flirting with all the other arm wrestlers. You need somebody up here encouraging you. When I hit this stage after the stall, you got to start increasing the time you're in the bath. And this is where you would start putting bags of ice on your head while you're losing weight. I get incredibly depressed and sad. It's so funny how sad and depressed I get that I've taken to in the logbook where I'm writing down my weights. I will take ahead of the night before and I will write encouraging stuff to myself saying, it's more than free t-shirts. It's more than this. You're trying to do something great. You're going to do something that's going to stand, because when I hit this level, look at this, blood pressure is way, way low. 123 over 84, pulse rate's 90. Any more than this is where I quit because I didn't have a real match. Once I get past this, my pulse rate gets into the triple digits and it keeps going higher, higher. I know my blood pressure is dropping because I'm getting dizzy. Falling asleep in a sauna is incredibly dangerous, and it's incredibly common when you're this exhausted. What else? Yeah. After this, I've had times where the last pound took 4 hours to lose. You know, you are flirting with incredibly dangerous levels of dehydration. So do not do this. But if you do it, have somebody there that will drag your sorry butt out and keep you alive, right? You are messing around with some severely important parts of your central nervous system, primarily your brain. All right. You do not want your brain getting all overheated for an arm wrestling competition. So please don't do this. If you do this, don't do this at all, ever. Make sure you have somebody there better than what I ever had, because I'm serious. I have severe, dark, and dismal thoughts during this stage, and this stage can go on for 6 hours or more. It's just terrible. This is where we're messing with rapid pulse. We talked about this. Dim vision. Your vision, you end up with tunnel vision and confusion. Right? So now you're just at automaton. You're in, you're toweling, you're weighing yourself, you're crying because you didn't lose weight. You're in, you start praying, please make weight, please make weight, please, even though you know you've got 6 more hours to go, please make. Oh, it's absolutely terrible. I never went unconscious, but I've been on the verge of passing out all the time. Never had chest pain, never had neuromuscular seizures. If I could vomiting, I've never had. I would have welcomed this. But the thing is if you did the 5-day thing, you took a laxative, you took a diuretic, you haven't had any salt, you haven't had any solid food, the last thing you want to do is start vomiting up organs and stuff. Okay, so please do not mess around. This is the next stage after this is pretty bad emergency room stuff. Okay, so for me to do this, I did it a few times. It got harder every time I did it. This is a 5-figure guaranteed payout before I would consider this again. All right, I will stay here in the I will not go to the sad and lonelies. I will stay here in the significant dehydrations. Yeah, please have somebody there with you. Okay. All right. So we made weight. Now we're coming back. First stage, the Euphoria. This is so nice. All you're having is crackers. You're going to get back into the bath. Even if you did the steam sauna to lose weight or however you lost the weight, you're going to crawl back into a lukewarm bathtub. The skin's the biggest organ. The skin can absorb water. Just sitting in the bath will start rehydrating you. Like I said, when you hit the stall, I think it's your body sucking some of that water back in because you didn't dry it off quick enough. But you got to be careful here because now it's like, hey, I can eat and drink anything I want. Not true. Your body is not accustomed to it. I've made this mistake several times where I started gorging at this stage and everything you put in the upstairs window came right out the downstairs window. Nothing stayed and then you're sick. All right. Do not start slamming solid food till you get back to hydration. A gallon of water is 8 pounds. If you cut 16 pounds in the sauna, you drink 2 gallons of water and get that 16.68 pounds back into your body before you start slamming food again. But you can't just put the water in because it'll run right throughout. So you mix it with something like cracker. I like goldfish crackers. I love them to death. It can be anything simple, carby, that's not going to upset your stomach. I've used corn chips. I've used saltines. You don't want a lot of salty food at this point because your body's severely dehydrated. I was on several podcasts with medical army doctors, and they disagreed with my use of distilled water because this distilled water has no minerals in it. I use distilled water because since it doesn't have any other minerals or supplements in it, the molecules are smaller. It can permeate through the body quicker. We're not going to stay with distilled water. We're only getting the distilled water to get our muscles and everything else fully saturated again. The crackers are just so that you're not sitting on the toilet, drinking and flushing, okay? Sit in the bath. You'll put on 2 or 3 pounds just sitting in the bathtub or taking a shower. By the time you dump 1.5 gallons of water into your stomach, which is very, very tiny, this is kind of painful, but you feel good. Your mood turns around. All that crap you were thinking an hour ago through the sad and lonelies is gone. You don't seem to mind that your partner was flirting with the other arm wrestlers and drinking in the bar and taking selfies while you were contemplating jumping off your 4-story hotel room balcony or nothing. In this case, I drank 1 gallon of distilled water and I ate this whole bag of goldfish crackers in the bathtub. So yeah, a couple of them fell in the tub, and a goldfish cracker goes from like this big to like this big in the bathtub. It's kind of gross. But by the time you get here, you've already been sitting in a bathtub of your own filth and waste by then. The waist is coming back up 39.5 inches. Pulse rates slowed down a little. Blood pressure came up quite a bit. All right. Now we're fully hydrated. Now we're going to put some weight back on. We don't have our full weight on. I'm still 3 or 4 pounds short, but simple carbs, electrolytes. Okay. Popular electrolytes are Pedialyte. I see people drinking it all the time. Basically, that's fine if you want to carry it. Salt is an electrolyte. No salt is a bunch of other electrolytes. So this is the magnesiums and everything else. So you dump no salt and salt into some simple carbs. I love the instant mashed potatoes. I love the chicken. Vegetables are very easy to digest. Vegetables digest, I think, in 8 to 12 hours, or meat digests in like 40 to 70. So we want simple foods that digest, get the calories, the nutrients into our body, but water. We're going to hammer water. We're going to hammer electrolytes. There are things you can do to hyperhydrate, but right now we are just trying to get to simple foods. This is kind of a dangerous spot. Not dangerous, but you want to be careful that you don't get nauseous or nausea. I always say that wrong. You don't, you want to make sure you take care of your stomach because your stomach's still kind of tender at this point. Tums, gas X. I get violent hiccups when I put this weight back on. Everybody's got hiccup cures. I'm telling you, when I start shoveling this kind of food into my body, not at this stage. At this stage, it's pretty simple. The next stage, there's no hiccup cure that fixes what we go to the next stage. But now we're up to almost our pre-water weight. Okay. Next step, force feeding. This is where you put on extra weight. This is where you want to get bigger than you were before. I stopped at half a pound over, but normally if you got a competition, if you got it every hour, you're going to eat something and you're going to eat something. And at this point, it's now painful. Your stomach's full. This is where we start eating creatine at every meal, a quart plus of water at every meal. Again, we're hitting the salts and the electrolytes every meal, everything to hold that salt in. We're still eating the potatoes. We're still eating pasta. We're still eating vegetables. Dump some gravy on it only because it's getting painful to eat at this point and it's got to look good. I'm eating 800 to 1,000 calories at a time, which is not a lot of food. Throw some high sodium vegetable juice in there. I just like this. You guys can do what you want. I am definitely taking antacids, probiotics, gas pills, everything to keep the stomach down. I got a little over my starting weight. The most I've ever done was lost 15 pounds to weigh in and then gained 17 pounds on the way back. But at this point, you're sitting in an air-conditioned hotel room, you're eating food every hour, and what I do is I get up, eat this, go back to bed. Get up, eat, go back to bed. It's just grinding it out. Waist is 40 inches now, definitely chubby. Hey, chicky monkey belly lookers, don't look at that. Pulse rate's still a little high. Blood pressure is kind of high, but you're slamming water and salt into it, so the actual plasma volume in your body is huge. If you see right here, there's a box called Pedialyte. What Pedialyte is glycerin, which is it's a type of alcohol, but it's hydroscopic. It absorbs water. So where creatine helps force water into your muscles, and we're throwing about a spoon of creatine in it every meal. You start throwing some of this Pedialyte in, it absorbs water and it'll hold water in your body. So it's a way of throwing even extra water into your body. All to gain weight. Whoops, hit the wrong button. Thank you, my children. I'm glad you're here. Hope you found this helpful. Of course, you got any questions, email me like you do. I read all the comments. I heart the comments. I show you read them. If you say something that I disagree with, I'll give you a thumbs down, but I read every single comment. Thank you so much. Bye now.